symbol unseen. Tonight, we're going to decode the black cube of Saturn. And the question is, what secrets are hiding right in plain sight? Prepare to unveil the cryptic code of high strangeness. You may not believe it. Hi, I'm Roderick Martin, the host of the podcast, High Strangeness. And you can find me on YouTube channel and anywhere that you listen to your podcast. And as always, you could have been any other place tonight, but you chose to be right here, right now. And with that being said, we're going to serve you. So once again, we're talking about symbols. We're talking about things that are right in plain sight that is all over the world. But in tonight's story, we're going to talk about the black cube of Saturn, but then I'm give you a kind of a hint to our part 2 of the video that we're going to be doing here. Well, how did it become the black cube of Saturn? It's simple, because did it start with Saturn being connected to Satan? Okay, so let's start with that a little bit. We'll get started right now here in the podcast. I hope you're ready for a few things that we're going to be going down the rabbit hole with, because I'm excited. Everything begins right here as we begin with our book of sacred secrets, okay? And remember that this book, you can find it on our website and get it. It's a download version, but once again, it's the book of sacred secrets, and I just printed it up and I put it here in a little thing I got from Amazon, so I can flip through it and you can see all of the stuff. But tonight we're going to come back and we're going to focus on the black cube of Saturn. So we will get there from there. All right, so let's start with the fact that Saturn itself is a symbol and it's been around quite some time, although a lot of people refer it to as being one of the planets, but it has more of a hidden meaning all the way back to the beginning of time. Now, with that being said, we're going to connect those dots tonight. And again, I hope that you have an open mind, because I've always told you the mind is like a parachute. And so what are we going to talk about first? How do I connect the dots? So first, I'm going to take you back for a minute and we're going to go just do a quick step here of Saturn being considered Satan. Satan is Saturn. We're talking about the 666. And what is the meaning of 666? We'll get into all of that in just a few moments. But also, let's look into what we're talking about. 666 is the carbon. It's the physical body is the mark of the beast, they say, the simulation of Saturn. Our soul is the bondage with the body. Now, one of the things they talk about here is that the carbon-based life form, that all life forms are based upon the bonding properties of the element carbon. All right, and so we'll get into that. But again, if you can get into Corinthians 4, Satan is who is the god of the world and has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. And that's that whole thing of one of the greatest tricks is to be unseen, or making people believe that he do not exist. And so we will get into that. But once again, as we get into the Satan and Saturn, we'll make this a part 2 of what we're doing in this video. I just want to kind of connect the dots to why we're talking about it in this particular fashion. But our whole story tonight is about the black cube of Saturn. Now, we can go into a lot of things when it comes down to company logos, branding, while a lot of these corporations uses the Saturn symbol within. We'll get into that. Like I said, we'll go back into this in part 2. Or once again, you can get your book of sacred secrets yourself and print it up as a download, instant download, and then you can go over this yourself. All right, so let's get started in what we're talking about. The black cube of Saturn. Now, Saturn exhaust is in what we call the winter, and it symbolizes death. As you will know, the sun or summertime or spring is life, and then things die off into the winter. So this is how it adapted this particular connotation together when we get down to it. It also symbolized dullness, the coldness and the darkness. So the color black was associated with Saturn for its darkness. The same thing with the lunar and moon, the sun, because it became dark, they said, okay, we're going to look at that. Now, there's a lot of symbols that we're going to get into that I'm going to show you when it comes down to this. And we'll get into where we're talking about the 911 memorial. We'll talk about some of these companies and how it is around the world. So I'll cover that at the end of this. And then once again, we're taking it all from this book. All right, so we could talk about there's different symbols, and I won't get into a lot of that in this particular video, where every symbol, or when it began from the dot to the circle to the square to the triangles, all of these are symbolic baselines to a lot of occult symbols, as well as symbols that are in plain sight. So we start with Judaism is a Saturnian based religion, okay? And when it comes down to it, the black cube on their forehead when praying, a lot of times you will see that they use the black cube right here on their forehead. Well, they also have a black band wrapped around them to symbolize. Now, each one of them means something different. So Judaism is the Saturn, which is Saturday. Then you're going to have the Jupiter, which is Thursday, and everything. You see, all this stuff is connected around our planets. It's connected around our solar system. It's connected all the way back to astrology, and it goes all the way back to aliens as well when you go all the way back before Egyptian time. But if you think about the sun, which they were going to call it Sunday, and then you want Venus, which is Friday, Mercury, which is Wednesday, the moon as in Monday. But all right, so covering these three eyes is a computer of our mind, and it has been uploaded to enhance. Well, how about the movie The Matrix, when he said that all of this is in our mind? It's a computer simulation. And you've heard people say it all the time. Well, this world is some type of computer simulation. So since we see the game computer corporations use the symbol of Saturn in their products, and especially if you start thinking about Nintendo, GameCube, there was Sega Genesis, which was the Saturn. A lot of these people, PlayStations, a lot of them use this when it comes down to it. Now, it's the ground attack. It's the ground attack because they are attacking our children's mind. And if you are going to get somebody to go into a certain way, you get them at their most vulnerable side of things, which is their young mind. So you want to be careful with this when it comes down to this. Now, once again, 6 is what they call the number of man. And then 7 is the number of God. And when you think about the cross itself, as I will show you here, that the cross actually, if it's unfolded, actually have 6 squares in it, or 6 cubes, when you think about how the cross unfolded. So Jesus on the cross is actually an unfolded cube. They have no problem symbolizing a lot of these things when it comes down to the black cube or Saturn. So I want you to stick around, because I'm going to show you how it is happening right now in plain sight, which is why we're here. I'm going to show you some examples of everyday plain life where they're worshiping Satan. They're saying, I worship Satan, but we don't see it every day. It's in our faces, and maybe we think it go unnoticed. But why would they do it? Well, I'll tell you what, we'll get into that in just a few moments. Now, in here it says that the heart with the rings of thorns, okay, symbolize the soul being wrapped in matter. And these rings of the thorns or the rings of Saturn. So if you ever seen this particular image before, then the heart with the rings of thorns symbolize the soul being wrapped in matter. Then the rings of thorns are the rings of Saturn. Now the lighting, the shining out of the heart symbolizes the soul. You can see here where it's emulating or emulating there. But then the cross is the unfolded cube. This also symbolizes the Vivian Westwood logo. So these companies, the Vivian Westwood logo is right there in plain sight. They got this right here in plain sight, and they're telling the world that we worship Satan. But people don't see it, and they just think, oh, maybe that's a good looking logo or something cool. We're going to get into a little more into this, where Da Vinci, where when we saw this actual art of Da Vinci, which we talked about when he did the Lord's Supper, or the Last Supper as we want to call it. Well, this here, he represents man, and then there is a cube inside of this, and I'll get into this a little later for you, but it also symbolizes man in the cube. Man's physical body is trapped in the cube, but the circle outside symbolizes the spirit. And as you would know, the symbol of a circle is always the spirit and ongoing. It never ends. It's like not so much an infinity symbol, but it's actually, when you see a cult sign, then once they circle it, then it has a whole different meaning. So when you start seeing, and we're going to show you a lot of these up and coming videos of different symbols, and then you'll see where they're going to put the circle around it, and I'll explain to you each different meaning of all of those symbols so that you'll know. But when we get back into this, just remember that circles have no beginning and they have no end, and they are internal, and that the true spirit itself outside the cube, outside the physical world. So what they're saying is, now you have the cube where you're trapped into, and then they put the circle around it, which is what Da Vinci did here in his photos, and I'll give you a better close-up in just a moment here once we get down into it. We can get into the infamous Jack in the Box, right? I had the toy when I was young where it popped up out of there, and we're talking about this right here, the Jack in the Box, and we'll get into more details, but the famous toy is the truth in plain sight. This is the truth in plain sight, because we are the Jack in the Box. We are the Jack in the Box, and we must expand our minds, and then we also pop out this box to ascend out into what we call the Saturn game cube. So the box actually shows us trapped in it, and you remember it winds up, and then all of a sudden you pop up out of the box. That is how we're supposed to ascend our mind. Where Billy's going to be speaking 19 keys, not 19 keys, but the woman's panel. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on. But right now, listen to me right now. If you go and get your tickets to the Conscious Awards, and you just buy the tickets to the event to the war for Sunday, you're going to be able to get in free Saturday to the conference. Yes, all you do is bring your receipt that you purchased to come to the Conscious Award on Sunday, and if you can get there early, come on in. You come to the whole event during the day from 8 to 5, the whole conference, the women's panel, absolutely free. But you got to go ahead and do this now. It's just a kind of a quick window. If you have not gotten your tickets, and if there's any way to put a note, tell them you heard it here on Roderick Martin High Strangers. But again, get your tickets. Make sure you do that. And if you haven't voted, it's time for you to vote for me. I want you to vote for me as the podcast category. You have to vote for a lot of us, different people, but give me your vote for the podcast category. Now, let's get deep. Let's really get deep. And like I said, I will put a link in the description for the book so that you can get the book of Sacred Secrets. And like I said, you'll get it instant download, print it up so that you can have it. Not only that, though, but make sure that you also get the book of Hidden Truths. This one goes a little deeper when it comes down to religion. It goes a little deeper from a lot of stuff, secret societies. When you're getting down, this is a whole different ball game. Both of these is an arsenal for you, so make sure you want to get your copy of that. And then the vibrational codes. This is by far the true codes from the Tree of Life, and that you will be able to, you can print these up, just stick them under your pillow. You will feel the energy. Stick it under your bed if you want money in abundance. So maybe you're saying, I want more love. Maybe you're saying, I want more freedom in abundance. Each one of these codes, use them as much as you like, and you should, and you can do it. And then the masterpiece is the full color, 100 and some pages of everything. Man, this right here, Sacred Secrets, this is all you need. Between the three, you will, a year from now, your life will change, because you are now not just woke. You have the book. You have the information. So let's get into some of the stuff that I want to talk about right now. When we talk about the black cube, and we want to talk about the black cube of Saturn, it's symbolic all around the world. One of the symbols, if you go and you look at it, is the black cube. Sometimes they turn it to the side so you can see all the cube. But if you look into this picture right now, we're talking about it symbolized all over the world: Australia, Denmark, Manhattan, as well as Santana. All of these places, this particular cube is being shown. Now, as we go look into here, you're talking about corporate side of things. Saturn is the secret god of the occult world. Saturn worship is everywhere, from logos to secret societies. We're talking about the Saturn car manufacturer, Capital One, Direct TV. You even see this at some of these headquarters, and even though it may come in black, some of them put it in blood red to let you really know what time it is, but they know the hidden meaning. Now, I can go deep. I can go deep in this one. You recognize this particular aircraft? It is solid black. You know who owns this? Do you know who owns this solid black aircraft that's flying around and then probably in a lot of trouble together? Yeah, you guessed it. It will be P. Diddy. And so I'm not tying him into that, but we can all go into the whole theories of what we've been hearing. And why would he say, out of all this, we're going to paint this plane solid black as I fly around the world? Now, that's just a speculation on my part. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it was a great deal to buy a black aircraft. Maybe it flies faster when it's black, or maybe it just looks cool when it's solid black. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can think about when it comes down to this. Something that is also kind of disturbing, the 911 memorial. This is a very disturbing photograph. The memorial now has two cube symbol, and it's black, and it is prominent. I don't know if they're sending a message of who did what, or whatever happened, or whatever it is, or maybe the occult organization that was behind it. But people, they knew what they were doing, and they replaced it and built this thing with two black cubes to indicate not only, remember what I said in the beginning. Remember I said that in the beginning of what we was talking about was how the cube was based upon death. Remember I said that in the beginning. So that's something I just want you to think about it. And also saying, remember right here in this book, if you get it, it says the black cube, which symbolizes death. And I don't know if that's the message that they was trying to send when they decided to make that memorial high ground, or ground of the memorial 911 with black cubes. As I talked about this Da Vinci, and as you can see, he used this two symbols. He used the symbol of man trapped into the cube, and then he put the circle around it that symbolizes the soul, everything. So in other words, man is trapped in with Satan, and forever is the whole deal of what's going on symbolically, or what you're looking at right here. Man, the cube of Satan who's trapped in our soul, and the spirits and soul actually is the circle, and we're talking about forever. Man, this is some powerful symbolic stuff that you want to look at. I'm also going to do something here for you. When you think about 666, and like I said, this will be our other part of the video. This is just a quick tonight. This is talking about the black cube tonight, to get you to understand the New World Order, to get you prepared for the future of what is happening out there, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm going to tie something right in our face that you just can't make this stuff up. So let me go into the clock, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little more so you can understand where I'm coming from. I want you to take a look at the regular clock here, okay? Every number in the direct disproportionate side of the number, subtract by 2, everything is going to equal 6 on this clock. So for example, 6 minus 12 is 6. We know that. Directly across from 7 to 1, okay, which is next to here, set minus 1 is actually 6. You can go 8 minus 2 is actually 6. 9 minus 3, or 3 minus 9, or whatever, is 6. 10, 4 from 10 is 6. 5 from 11 is 6. Once again, but 1 from 7 is 6. 2 from 8 is 6. 3 from 9 is 6. 4 from 10 is 6. 5 from 11 is 6. 666 is out there and is important, and it means a lot, and they're wrapping around us. You got 60 minutes in an hour. You got 60 seconds in a minute. 24/7. 24 hours is 2 4 equals 6. 666. 12 16. It's 6 is Saturn. 6, the sixth god, the god of time, is all of this. And we're going to get into this in the next video. I just wanted to set that in motion and let you know this is some deep stuff. This was a short, right to the point podcast to get some information that the black cube of Saturn is real. It exists. It's out there in front of us. And I want you to know you have to do it. And for more videos like this, make sure you go. If you want to watch any other stuff that I've done, TV personality, Amazon, Forbidden Knowledge TV, History Channel, Gaia, Discovery Plus, Apple TV, you will find me on several different TV shows. The website is below where you can get your Book of Sacred Secrets, the Hidden Truths, the High Vibrational is whythebigsecret.com/merch. And I will see you on the other side. So remember, next week, we're going to have a video. Our next video is going to be Satan is Saturn. So we're going to go over all of that, and it'll come out of our book of Hidden Secrets. And so be ready to go through those. And then we'll go to Saturn symbology on our third part 3 of what we're doing. Looking forward to seeing you. High strangeness.